Hey guys, it's me again. I'm back. So in my last video, I talked about the no gravity kernel by Pierre for the OnePlus 2. And in that video, I mentioned that the kernel is purely focused on performance with a few battery tweaks here and there. So today, I've decided to do something very similar to that video. Yes, it is going to be another custom kernel video for the OnePlus 2. This time it is Matrix kernel. This kernel is kind of a balanced kernel for balanced performance and battery life. Mainly focuses on the battery life. Not too much, just to keep it kind of a balance, but more focused on the battery life instead of performance. And it is created by Abhi, if I'm not mistaken. That's how I pronounce his name. Well, for this video was actually shot a few weeks ago, so I'm still using the old Matrix 1.4. So just a quick mention before I start off with anything. As a base, I am using Lineage OS 16.0 official ROM for the OnePlus 2. This would be a ROM that I'll be using throughout most of my videos from now on, because I find that this ROM is pretty stable and the battery life I get in this ROM is quite good. I might even make a review on the ROM in sometime in the future. Anyways, let's get right into the video. This is Umesh presenting to you guys Matrix kernel for the OnePlus 2. So guys, as usual, I always start off my videos with a benchmark on the base ROM, and again I mentioned this time it is the Lineage OS 16.0 kernel. Before I actually show you guys the benchmark, one thing I gotta say is this video, I added something new into it, which is the kernel installation, and I'll show that. So basically the order is first the benchmarks on Lineage OS 16 basic, the installation of the kernel, benchmarks on Lineage OS 16 with Matrix kernel, and last but not least, the Matrix kernel recommended kernel tweaking app review. So again, I'll be benchmarking the default kernel for the OnePlus 2 Lineage OS official 16.0. So yeah, let's begin the benchmarks. I'm gonna run it right now. As you can see, OnePlus 2, Android 9, Qualcomm. So that's that. Running the benchmarks, and I'll get right back to you guys once the benchmark is completed. So yeah, the benchmark is almost complete and it's done. There, you guys can see single core score is 1184, multi-core score is 3156. So let's take a look at comparisons with single cores. As you can see, OnePlus 2 is 1184 this ROM, and default is 1042 compared to OnePlus 3 and so on. It's obviously lower. It's not going to be higher because it's a lower spec phone, so that is kind of expected. Alright, taking a look at the multi-core, you can see this device scored 3156 on the multi-core, while an average OnePlus 2 only would score 2763. So that is a huge improvement right there. That is easily 300 marks higher or so. And yeah, comparison with the OnePlus 5 and OnePlus 3 and so on. And that's pretty much it for the benchmark on stock Lineage OS 16.0 official with the stock Lineage kernel. So guys, as for the installation part, it's pretty simple. Just go into your recovery. Here, as you can see, I'm using TWRP recovery. All you have to do next is go into install and then select the file of the Matrix kernel. Don't select anything, just swipe and it should install in no time. Again, you guys don't have to wipe any internal memory or cache or data or Delvic cache or any other partitions. So that's pretty much it for the installation. Once it's done, just reboot it up and you should be good to go. So guys, now that the installation of Matrix kernel is complete, well, the next step is definitely moving on to the benchmarks. So let me just go ahead and clear my recents menu real quick just to make sure it doesn't affect any performance or something like that. And where's my Geekbench? Right there. There we go, Geekbench. It's loading up. As you guys can see, same old OnePlus 2, Android 9.0, Qualcomm Snapdragon 810, and run the benchmark. And I'll get right back to you guys once the benchmark is completed. Okay, you guys can see the benchmark is almost done, and it's done here. Single core score is 1188. It's a reduce, I think, but the multi-core score on the other hand is 2648. It's also a drop from the previous one, I think. But then again, it's because of this kernel it's smooth, but it's not much on gaming performance. Compare the single core over there, you guys can see. And now the multi-core, an average 1+2 scores 2.7. This device only got 2.6. Then again, guys, I remind you, these benchmark scores are not entirely accurate. It is just kind of a unit of measure, but I did not tweak anything because I know if I were to tweak this kernel, I would definitely get a huger benchmark score. Same goes with my previous video, the no gravity kernel. If I were to tweak the kernel for maybe the best performance, then yes, my benchmark scores would be off the roof. But as of now, I didn't touch anything, so it's mostly for battery in this Matrix kernel 1.4. So guys, now that the benchmark is done, what's left to do is take a look at the Kernel Tweaking app. So the Kernel Tweaking app is an app, I've actually never used this app before, but it was recommended by Abhi, the kernel maker, in his XDA thread. So that's what I did. I went ahead, I downloaded this Kernel Tweaker. It looks pretty much like Kernel Auditor, but it's not. So yeah, as you guys can see over here, there's an update immediately when I open it, so that's that. I'm gonna just ignore it for now. As you guys can see, the main page looks really similar to Kernel Auditor. Not much difference. You can see the kernel timings, the core timings, and the little core, the big core, all the timings and the clock rates and so on. It's basically an overview on the first page. Okay, moving on, we're going to take a look at the next tab, which is processor. And then again, these tabs are all just informational tabs. You can't really tweak much in the first column. You guys can see above there. So it just shows you more detailed information about your processor and so on. Nothing much, nothing big, just the small stuff. So you guys can see kernel version is Matrix 1.4. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, moving on to the tweaking section, we can see CPU over here. You can choose the number of cores that turn on, which cores to turn on, the maximum core frequency, the minimum core frequency for both the big cores and the little cores. We can change both. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a few unlocked cores, clock speeds that we don't get in our stock kernel. I'm not sure what are those speeds, I can't really remember. There's a list of it actually. And you can actually tweak the governor tunables. And yeah, as you guys can see, I didn't set everything to max. So it's not the max minimum, it's not the max maximum. So you guys can still fix that to get a higher score for your benchmarks. And next, what do we have here? Oh yes, we have the next tab, which is GPU. So you guys can see over here, GPU, I can set the minimum frequency, which is the minimum is 27, which you don't get in a stock ROM. And the maximum is 630 if I'm not mistaken. And screen, you can tweak the screen color, the screen contrast, the saturation, and so on and so forth. Moving on to the next tab, we'll be taking a look at LED, display and LED. So as you guys can see in display and LED, there is a few options over here. I'm not going to go through everything, just to let you guys know, because then you'll already know what's coming to you. I really recommend you guys flash this ROM and download this very app to tweak your kernel. So this app was recommended by Abhi, again to mention, and as you guys can see, there are a few profiles: the balance, performance, battery, and even the gaming profile. So these profiles, it's just basically default, I wouldn't say default, preset values. So it's just to make your lives easier if you don't want to customize the values yourself. That is what the profiles are there for. So that's actually pretty much it for the app. As you guys can see, these are my battery stats. I'm gonna show you guys just real quick the battery curve and my usage and so on. I just mostly use WhatsApp and a bit Chrome. Mostly what takes up my battery, I would say, is Bluetooth, Chrome, Spotify, and WhatsApp. These are the main three things I use. WhatsApp is just universally used for text and so on. Spotify, I listen to a lot of music in my car, so Bluetooth and Spotify both is really high usage. And Chrome, definitely Chrome. I know there's a lot of other web browsers that don't use much battery, but I found Chrome easy in the sense that I can easily sync my bookmarks on my PC and my phone, whatnot. And on the side note, I really apologize, guys. I have not been uploading for 3 weeks now. I'm really sorry for that. The last 2 weeks, I was really busy with the courseworks and assignments. And last week, I was actually supposed to record, but then I was not feeling well, so my voice got screwed up there. If you guys have any comments or maybe any improvements that you want me to do, or even requests, don't be afraid to leave it down in the comments below. I am more than happy to reply to the comments that I get. And if you don't want it to be public, maybe email me. My email, you guys can find it. It is in my about section in the channel, so check that out. Definitely, if you want to email me anything, feel free for it. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. So definitely install this kernel. It is really good. I mean, I swear by it. In my last video, I mentioned that NGK no gravity kernel could be one of the best kernels out there. This is also in that list, just in the sense that NGK is more focused on performance overall, and this is really focused on battery. So I really hope you guys check this kernel out for yourselves. And definitely, if you guys want to know more about this no gravity kernel that I'm mentioning, if you haven't watched my previous video, definitely click the link in the description. I've linked my previous no gravity kernel app review, no gravity kernel review in there. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me. This is Umesh signing off from the Tech Grid. Peace out, guys.